and the goal is to bring you your next favorite band. Day 5 of our Musikfest Daily Livestreams, broadcasting from Godfrey Daniels. Our guests today, the Amish Outlaws. And we're going to transition here to the Amish Outlaws. While we get them into the chairs, let's play the video about what they are and all the great music that they get to play. If you've never heard it before, this will be a great introduction to them. It's kind of like an overview. Check out some Amish Outlaws.
No doubt. It does kind of look like a musical group on that bench with the Red Sox. Maybe the Amish Outlaws, one of Jack Curry's faves.
Have you ever seen the Amish Outlaws in person?
Get out the way!
They are a great cover band, by the way. Anything you want played, they can play it. They're awesome.
Jack Curry turned me on to them, yeah.
If you're ready! If you're ready!
Google the Amish Outlaws. Check them out.
What can you say about that show? An absolutely packed crowd.
It's a bold statement, but I don't know that I've seen Festplatz that packed. But it was a great show.
I don't think they want to go home. I'm getting that feeling.
Well, the good news is that if you want to see the Amish Outlaws again, you can come on down tomorrow night.
On this side, we've got Black Sabbath. Who likes Black Sabbath? On this side, we've got Ludacris. Who likes Ludacris?
So we welcome to the show Brother Hezekiah, Brother Jacob, Brother Ezekiel, and we'll get into the better names in a second. I just wanted to do that as quick as I can. The Amish Outlaws.
Yay!
Thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
No problem. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, what a great honor. This is basically such a great week. Like, in my opinion, like you're kind of a Musikfest royalty. Like, it's the app tracks who people schedule. So, like, you can go into the Musikfest app, you can say, I want to see this band, this band, this band. And then you can go to a different section where it says what's hot, and it'll tell you who has been scheduled the most. Yeah. So you have 2 sets here at Musikfest.
When I think of, like, the word hot,
yeah,
I think of the 3 guys.
That's
here.
what I was thinking, too.
We're all really gorgeous. I don't know how many people can see us. Hopefully not as many as I would like, because it's like Brad Pitt and an even younger Brad Pitt.
And Timothy Chalamet.
If he ate an awful lot of...
I did my 10 push-ups.
Yeah, Brad Pitt if he ate an awful lot of meatloaf.
Yeah.
But your 2 sets are ranking number 1 and number 3 out of the 530 shows that could be picked for this.
That's cool.
That's the most scheduled on there. I think last night was number 1 and tonight is number 3. So yeah, I mean, just so honored to have you on. An incredible story that we're going to get into here about how things kind of got formed, and just happy to have you on. One thing I was going to bring on first, so that we can get into the names, is your website, which is also very, very cool. So we got Brother Hezekiah X.
Yeah.
The other ones here with us today, Brother Easy Ezekiel, and then Brother Jacob the Pipe Layer. Fantastic name. And then the other people who couldn't make it here today, Brother Big Daddy Abel, Brother Snoop Job, and Brother Amos Def. And again, you can see where all of the rap names kind of came from. It's absolutely so clever. It's extremely well done. It took me a minute to get that Brother Big Daddy Abel was opposite of Cain and Abel. Very biblical there. Yeah. That one hit me a little. It was like a joke grenade. It hit me a little bit after.
It's like a tiramisu of references.
But yeah, I mean, website's amazing. We can also kind of learn what everyone's favorite foods are by hovering over them. It's a great website. How do you not love that? But yeah, so again, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And then, so in that opening, basically the announcers for the Yankees were talking about you guys.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
That actually happened. We were here performing at the it's now Wind Creek, but it was Sands Casino at the time when I started getting calls and texts and stuff saying they just were talking about you guys in the Yankees. And it's happened, I think, 3 times since.
Wow.
It turns out that Jack Curry, who's the Yankees commentator and the expert, is a big fan of ours and has seen us many times. And he's turned David Cohen on to us and Ken Singleton, and that's how they wound up talking about us the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Was the guys from the Red Sox had, beards and no mustache.
Sure.
And he said, it looks like, the singer of the band, the Amish Outlaws. And then they started talking about us.
He was bald. Yeah.
He was bald.
It was a Yankees Red Sox game.
Yankees Red Sox. It's huge.
Oh, which is going to be the most watched one. Absolutely.
It was
Wow.
couldn't have been a better time to get involved.
Did you notice like a massive explosion on social or anything like that?
At the time, there was Facebook and Instagram. Social media was just kind of starting to really become what everybody did. But our website saw an increase of, 20, 30,000 people that day.
Wow.
And they've talked about us a couple of times since. Once, I think it was David Cohn talked about one of the pitchers from the Red Sox used to go like this.
Right, yeah.
And when I play bass a lot, I crouch down and I play bass like this.
Right.
I get down low to the ground. And he said, it looks like the bass player from the Amish Outlaws, But again, I'm standing in my bedroom. My wife's about to go to bed. I'm a late night person, and then my phone starts going, and she's like, somebody just texted me that they talked about you on the Yankees. They talked about you on the Yankees game. And I was like, whoa. But it's all thanks to Jack Curry. Jack Curry's become a good friend of ours over the years.
That's
He's
so
us quite
great.
a bit, and they've mentioned us a couple of times.
So let's just quick talk about the show. I mean, you saw there, it's a party. Like you're covering all of the best songs that people want to hear at a festival, and you're doing it exceptionally well.
Thank you.
And so people who listen to the show might be saying I'm hypocritical right now because I often say I'm not going down to see a tribute band or a party band or a cover band. And that's purely because my goal when I go to something like this is to go find new music. But I always have the utmost respect for what you all do. Like, I always try to make sure I point out, by the way, performers in bands like these are some of the most talented, if not the most talented. It's just that they've chosen...
Don't push it.
No, I'm serious. I am totally serious because to emulate... I mean, here's the thing. You have to play that song dead on because if you get it wrong, everybody knows it. You're playing original music and you screw it up. Most people don't even know it because at a festival, it's the first time they're hearing you. So that takes a ton of skill and practice. And
there's a different muscle that's being exercised for sure. But I mean, at the same time,
There's a little room for interpretation.
We're 100% aware that we're not Led Zeppelin. I mean, I don't think it could be more clear, how different it is when somebody, I mean, the music that, a lot of what it is that we play isn't necessarily even music that we truly love. It's more music that we know we can make extremely enjoyable for people. I mean, there are some songs that I absolutely love to do every night, but.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. There was a ticketed event. This goes back, let me think. Probably to 2017 in this Musikfest cafe where you're going to play tonight. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring the kids down. My daughter was 6th grade. My son was 9th grade. I knew it was going to be this fun, this music they would know. Because I always try and drag them down to shows I'm going to and they're like, Dad, it's boring. I don't know anything. Where's the cool music? And I'm like, oh yeah? Watch this. Take you to the Amish Outlaws. Now here we are. These are the two kids with Hezekiah.
Oh wow. Look at me. And look at them.
Right? They're both in college now, but and they're going to kill me that I'm bringing these pictures up. And then here we are with...
I was going to say, Hez looks younger there.
Yeah, there's me. Somehow I have more gray hair in that picture than now, but don't ask about that. But then here's the best part about it is you all were pointing out that they were the only two kids in the room, and you were worried that, okay, you were kind of saying, oh, I gotta be careful how I say this, but it's not like you were being dirty or anything, but it was just telling fun stories or whatever. And then I think it was Abel, but he was like, hey, everyone is gonna know this song, please sing along, except you two, you definitely don't know it. And it was Country Roads by John Denver. And they know the song and so she starts singing along, and you brought her on stage. So here's my daughter Mari singing Country Roads with you all on stage.
And she's in college now.
And and now she's 19. That's and then I think probably because you wanted to make sure you were fair and equitable about it, you did bring Rolling on a River. You brought my son up on stage to dance together.
Oh wow, we haven't done that in a long time.
Like 4 years.
That's what I said. It's 40 years. Everything pre-COVID feels like 40 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. It was either 40 years or 2 minutes. I mean, I just wanted to share that purely because it was they had such a fun time.
Very fun.
They felt so plugged in on this show and so special.
That's wonderful to hear.
And I only have 10 seconds of each because back then that's what social media did.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
Snapchat. It only let me take that long of a video. I wish I had the whole thing. And the audio sucks too. But anyway, it was fun. I kept it all these years. And then I was like, wait, do I still have those videos? When you guys were coming on, I was like, I hope I have them.
I could say it's one of the things that I love most about our job and what we do is seeing that exact thing, parents with
Sure.
their kids and then grandparents and
Yeah.
just multi-generations of families and people of all different ages at our shows. It's just and it is a real surprise to see some of that. Like Take On Me is a song we used to do by AHA. We did it 20 years ago, and we just brought it back recently in the last year. And it's amazing how many kids, maybe it's on TikTok, it's a TikTok thing or something, but kids know every word to that song. Young kids, 6, 7, 8 years old.
I think streaming has just made it, they don't look at what year or decade the music came out.
Yeah.
If they're listening to a certain band of today that has that, some of those algorithms start to feed you the older stuff, and they just listen to it.
I'm quite certain that must have been what it was.
That could be it. Is it that Harry Styles song?
Yeah, I was
Someone
going to say
sounds
that
just
Harry
like it.
Styles song that.
Sure.
As it was, we were playing that one for about 5 minutes. That is a complete ripoff of Take On Me.
That's probably what it is.
And then there's the guy with the tattoos on his face. What's his name?
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson below.
Anyway, my point. Oh, and then also Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, also very synonymous of Take On Me. So I'm quite certain that's probably what it is.
I think that's it.
And that song's actually the most downloaded song ever.
Wow.
That Blinding Lights song by the Weeknd. So.
Yeah. But I mean, it's an incredible show. You guys should definitely go check it out. One of the other things I think about having you guys on is to just kind of go through the backstory. It's what we love doing on this show is like go back towards the beginning and such. And obviously, there's going to be unique elements to this story because I bet you get this all the time. Are you really Amish?
Somebody yelled at us from his van walking here. A guy rolled down his window
Yeah.
and yelled, "Hey, you guys are really Amish?"
Yeah.
I said, "Just from the waist down." Oh yeah, we got to play.
I said something a little less nice.
Yeah.
that guy's out
That's
there.
why the Yankees
This is his
like you.
formal apology.
So the quick version here, and then we can kind of move it to is basically there's 3 members who were raised Amish and 3 who are honorary Amish.
Yeah.
I don't think it should matter. It's great music. Just go listen to it.
Thank you.
But if people want to have some backstory, in essence, if I understand it right, Ezekiel, you kind of started, well, basically, people may even want to know about this. There's that around your 16th birthday, which is similar to either in other cultures, there's a quinceanera, there's a bat mitzvah or whatever, a bar mitzvah. There's different elements to this, and in the Amish culture, it's the rumspringa.
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't mind explaining that.
Yeah, it's a Pennsylvania Dutch word that means running around. That's the literal translation. But
Sure.
The Amish, short story long, the Amish don't believe in baptism as a child. It came from the Anabaptists.
Right.
And the belief is that you should make the choice as an adult to be baptized.
Sure.
So until you're baptized, you're not bound by the church's laws.
Got
It's
it.
almost like a loophole, you could say. So when you turn 16, you go on Rumspringa to go out and experience the world and either reaffirm your faith and say, this is the life I want to lead.
Right.
Or go the other way, which is what we did.
Yeah, right. And if I understand it right, it was primarily, obviously, when you're being raised without electricity, without the ability to play instruments, without alcohol, all these different things. As a 16-year-old, that could just be an explosion of terrible life choices.
Yeah, for some it is. It's like anything else. I have friends that got crazy, and then I have friends that they did next to nothing.
Right.
I didn't get particularly wild till I got out here, but it's yeah.
But it was music mostly that just grabbed you right away.
Music
Yeah.
grabbed me immediately. That was something I had heard some music. I heard modern music out in the world, but it was music is and was and is it was a life-changing.
Has been and
still
always
is.
shall be.
Yeah, it has been
Yeah.
and always shall be.
But the 2 albums, if I got it right, was Sgt. Pepper's on the Wall that in particular just grabbed
Yep.
your ears and never let go.
Yeah, a friend, English friend, a guy I met when I lived in New York, his father had them on vinyl. So he had the fold-outs, and I don't know if you know, Sgt. Pepper's has like the cardboard mustache and all the...
Right.
And the wall has
Right.
just all this imagery, and I had never really thought about music as something with a very deep meaning. Mm-hmm. It had just been a distraction, more or less. It's how I perceived it.
Sure.
That really changed music, suddenly like a great book or as I now know movies. You know,
Right.
It just became something that meant so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so-
there was another phrase I had learned. Let me see if I get it right. Gelassenheit?
Yeah, humility.
Yeah, which had you basically that you're not allowed to play instruments.
Yeah, you can't play musical instruments. It's one of the reasons Amish people all wear the same clothes. So you don't look at somebody else's nicer jacket or pants, or it's the whole spirit of humility.
Yeah.
And that's same with no photos. Amish dolls that children are given don't have faces. There's no graven images, I guess you would say. Graven.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about everybody being equal, and based on I'm not a particularly religious person now, but you're sure like the fact that Jesus died and the ultimate act of humility, giving himself up for mankind. That's
Right.
what the Amish try to emulate.
Sure. Yeah. I just thought people might want to know some of those elements to things, and
Yeah, well, a lot of people always say to us, "Oh, you guys must play acoustic guitars," and I go, "Oh, you think you're smart?" I said, there's no musical instruments amongst the Amish. I couldn't play a flute, I couldn't play a harmonica if I was still
Right.
practicing Amish.
yeah. Interesting.
Couldn't be on a podcast.
So you start out wanting to start a band. Here's what's amazing is when I was doing some research, I actually couldn't tell serious from sarcasm. So
Yes.
some of my notes may not be accurate.
It's all good.
But you did say it. The first name of the band was
Ella Fitzgerald.
Elephants
Gerald.
like apostrophe S, elephant apostrophe S Gerald.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious. But then you eventually was like, wait, let's grab a hold of the Amish.
Yeah. I was mowing my lawn one day, and I, as usual, had way too much coffee. My mind was just racing, and I was like, we should think about. At the time, there was 4 of us that had been born and raised Amish. One of the other original lead singer left 15, 16 years ago. He was also became a police officer.
Sure.
So we were getting home at 3 a.m. from shows in Seattle City, and he was getting up at 6 and running around the
Wow.
Bronx with a gun. So he made the right choice of retiring.
Right.
But I was like, we should just something Amish. We got to tie it in, and
Sure.
then, I was thinking the Amish Army, the Amish Armada. None of that makes sense because there's no Amish military.
Right.
I said the Amish Outlaws, and I was let go of the handle of my lawnmower and went inside and sat down and just. It all just kind of came pouring out, and I went to the next practice. I said, "We're going to call ourselves the Amish Outlaws. We're going to dress the way we used to dress." Sorry, I said the guys that weren't born and raised Amish. It's not going to be cool, And we're here now. It's been 21 years. It's been our jobs for.
That's what I wanted to point out is like these other shows that have come along. You were first. It's because you started in like 2002.
Yeah, the band started in 2001. But yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, there's the Amish Mafia." We were around before all that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Even when the band started, the internet was barely a thing.
Right,
There was
that's true.
there was no researching. There was no looking up other Amish bands. There was no,
Right.
I remember we didn't even have a website the first couple of years. We were sending out flyers. I was stapling flyers and mailing them to people on our mailing list. You know? And it's funny.
When we used to play in Hoboken, what we would do is we actually went out onto the street and just like with an acoustic guitar and just sang songs as people walked by. And
We walked around with flyers trying to get people, and
Literally handing
half
them
would
out to
run
people.
away thinking we were some sort of like cult.
Sure,
We'd
right.
go up with a flyer and
Yeah.
go,
Yeah,
it was
I
a
don't want
different
it.
time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I think the other element that I want people to understand was there isn't this shun thing where you're still in touch with your families and
Yeah, well, that is-
they may not be happy with the choice, but
Of course, yeah.
plenty of parents aren't happy with their kids' choices.
Well, that's that. If you join church or you get baptized, join church is one of the phrases we use for it, and then you leave, you'll be shunned.
Sure.
But the door's technically always open for you to come back. Although my family now knows it's been, 34 years that they figured it out.
Right.
But yeah, the door is always open for us to come back. There's even different levels amongst the Amish of how strict they are, and there's different orders, and there's different.
Right.
And some families will, if the kids aren't baptized, will still shun them. But it's said to be done out of love, as much as it sounds like a harsh thing. The belief is, like most religions, that is the only path to salvation. So
Got
they're
it.
doing this to bring you back into the fold, and back
Interesting.
the right way, and
Yeah.
But yeah, we weren't shunned.
Yeah. Cool. Again, these are things where now you don't have to get asked,
It is-
and
it is-
also
it's another
don't
part, yeah.
ask to borrow the hat, to have the hat. You don't get the hat. Just don't ask.
Yeah.
in that way, we're just like Van Halen. Running with the devil.
So you play bass.
I play bass. Yep.
I'm a singer, yeah.
belting out the lead vocals. We saw it a little bit on the clip there. But
thank you.
how did you grew up in the Reading area?
Yeah, well, Christiana.
Okay, yeah, and then so
Close enough.
Yeah, were you one of the first people to join in?
Okay. When we all kind of moved to New York area, we bumped into each other. It was that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
I didn't know. Hez and I didn't know each other growing up.
Yeah,
He
got it.
also keyboard
Yeah.
player is a year behind me, a year younger than me.
Right.
So he was in the same community. He came out a year after, but
Yeah.
we met each other randomly.
Yeah, it was like just one of those things where it just kind of made sense to do something about.
Totally.
Since we
That's
had-
the universe
since-
just
I
saying.
Yeah.
grew up in New York, so that's how I.
He was one of the first real friends I made when I moved to New
the
York.
same area. We met through a mutual friend, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah, and you play drums.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and then so any other like early on stories? Anything else you want to share about kind of like the formation of the names and such? That had to be so fun too to kind of start coming up with.
Well, I
those
mean,
things.
there was also most of this stuff was Ezekiel's ideas, and he just thought, we were trying to think of, what we do, what our former life, and I guess who we are.
Well, to me,
we're not very cool people,
Yeah.
and
That can't
so
be
why
true.
not have something that's sort of a combination of, I guess at least in our brains, very cool,
Right.
mixed with the most
Us.
uncool thing. that could possibly be.
Well, part of it was definitely, not having heard any music really
Yeah.
growing up. Most of the English friends I met, like, you were either into rock or you were into rap, or there were kind of like these cliques formed of who liked what kind of music. And when the band started, the first two songs we played, when we were Ella Fitzgerald, was "Coming to America" or "America" by Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond,
Coming
got
to
it, yeah.
America is the movie with Eddie Murphy.
We knew what you meant.
Yeah, America. By
That would
Neil
be
Diamond.
amazing if you played that.
And Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill were the two songs we first started playing. And I remember these guys being like, "I want to play a hip hop song?" And I said, "Yeah." But to me, it was all just music.
Right.
There was no, and it was all amazing in its
Yeah,
own
yeah.
way. So from day one, we've always played stuff that other
Yeah.
bands wouldn't even think to play.
Yeah.
And, even the first time we ever played down the Jersey Shore, I'll never forget, we played a multi-day showcase, a bunch of bands at a place called Bar A. And we walked in the outfits, and people were just, giving us the ultimate side eye. And we got up and we jumped up with, we saw a bunch of great bands all playing similar rocks, the same kind of rock songs and the same kind of flavor of the day cover band stuff. And we got up and we did Milkshake by Khalees, and we did G-Thing by Snoop Dogg. and
That's
Dr.
so
Dre.
good.
And it
I
was
mean, like that sounds like, I think if you just said that sentence without knowing, people would be like, "There's no way that's good." And
Yeah.
your version of that song is really good.
I mean, it was like a bomb went off.
Yeah.
I get excited thinking about it now, and it's been 19, 20
That's
years.
so
It was
fun.
like a bomb went off.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just, it's been a crazy ride since then.
And it wasn't really rocket science, to be honest with you, because I mean, at the time, what we were playing was actually the most popular music in the world, and
Yep.
what they were playing was stuff that a very small percentage of the world really liked. But I guess there was a certain element amongst the the bands of that particular area, where we're all gonna play the Killers, and we're all gonna, and there's
Right.
nothing wrong with the Killers,
No, right.
but I'm just saying, after 4 bands played, I'm
Mr.
coming
Brightside.
out of my cage, and I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that one, and then
Right.
it was a lot.
It was time for
something new.
something fresh.
But that was the long story of how we had the combination of Amish and hip hop names.
Right.
But it's just like it made sense. I mean, it's like mix those two things together, and
That's so fun. Jacob, any story from like joining in early or just something fun?
When I first met these guys, it was kind of wild because they, as you would imagine, meeting
Yeah.
Amish people, like I'd remember driving through like Lancaster with my
Mm-hmm.
parents, going on vacation or whatever. Like you'd see Amish people, you'd like,
Sure, of course.
It's like almost intimidating
Right.
because they look, it's very serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I met these guys, and like it was kind of like intimidating at first.
Yeah.
And it was just a wild time to meet people like that, and they used to pick my brain about like, oh, what are you into? What music do you like? And like just they were like sponges.
It didn't take long. Didn't take long to pick his brain.
They're like sponges, huh? Like sponges.
Yeah.
Like just.
And how does the show play in areas where there is more of an Amish community, like out in Lancaster or even Ohio has a decent?
we were just in Ohio.
Yeah, we just played Ohio for the first time. We played in what time were we in?
It doesn't matter.
Nashport,
It's
Ohio.
a small state.
Yeah, we played
No,
in
it's
Nashport,
not. It's
Ohio.
huge.
I mean, we do play in Lancaster. We played. We used to be called the Chameleon Club. They closed down during COVID. Now the same guy that ran it, Greg Barley, great guy, runs Phantom Power in Millersville.
Oh,
So
love
we
that
play out
space.
there. Yeah, it's a good, amazing room.
Really
But
good
we do
space.
we do very, very well.
Mhm.
Ohio, for the first time we were out there, it was great. I mean, it was a 9.5-hour ride home the next day. That wasn't great.
That's
we were so well received, and they rehired us for the following year that Monday.
Oh, that's
we played
awesome.
there Saturday, Monday. They rebooked us out there. I've had conversations with a bunch of former Amish people that are at our shows. A festival we did in West Virginia, the guy that had the unfortunate job of emptying the porta potties was a former Amish person that I had a whole long conversation with. A shitty job, but it was
Literally.
Sorry, should I not use that word?
No, it's totally fine.
But yeah, we played. We go over well there. I mean, we've been blessed that. I mean, I can't think of a place where we've really tanked entirely. We've certainly had shows where there weren't a lot of people, but.
But I got to think that just predates your kind of the momentum of people being aware of that it's
that is an interesting thing. You mentioned before the Amish, the TV shows and all that stuff. It almost seemed like the band we started to take off, and suddenly the concept or the idea of the Amish became part of the
zeitgeist,
the
yeah.
general
Mhm.
the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
There were TV shows.
Yeah.
There was the Kingpin the movie. There was all
Right.
this stuff. Suddenly, it was just
a thing.
Yeah, it was just becoming a thing. It was
Yeah.
always a thing for us, but it
Right.
was something
Yeah,
people
we
were
definitely-
suddenly
Before
Like-
that, it was just Witness, and that was it.
yeah, it was
It's
just
definitely benefited us, for sure.
Yeah.
You should cover like the music from that. That's a rip roaring good time. But I did a couple things here that I wanted to see. Like I always love at the end just coming up with like quick little trivia points. And again, may not be accurate because you guys are so funny. You might have just been
That's very
effing
possible.
with people. But I'm pretty sure this one might be accurate because you also had a photo. Did you once put a man's glass eye in your mouth?
Yes, it did.
Yes,
There
you
it
did.
is.
Yes, I did.
I was going to bring that up.
There you
I'm
go.
glad you brought it up first.
There's a photo of it. So we had that.
So a guy at a show
Yeah.
in Riverdale, New Jersey. I think it was actually the day we filmed our first promotional video. Just standing in front, popped out his glass eye and handed it to Abel, who was mortified and turned and handed it to me.
But no.
And being the idiot I am, I took it and I put it in my mouth and I acted like I swallowed it, but I did a sleight of hand. I did put it in my mouth. I'm going to say that again. I did put it in my mouth, but then, slipped it back into my hand and then swallowed and then acted like this is terrible. It acted like I was pooping it out. Like I dropped it down between my legs. And this gentleman, God
He
bless
was
him.
cocky-eyed.
It was
cockeyed.
he picked it right up and just popped it right back in his head.
God bless
And it
him.
wasn't I always pictured it being an orb. It was just like a cover.
Yeah.
It was like
Sure.
a big lens,
Right.
But yeah, I did put the
did
guy's
that.
Yeah,
glass
we have
on.
lots of disgusting people.
That was prior to, I'm sure that would have been all over prior to like real video cell phones.
Sure,
being
sure.
everywhere, But somebody got a photo of it. You should see
I
it.
had here, and again, Hezekiah, did you get rug burns on your head?
I hurt myself a lot. I mean,
He fell off the stage twice in the last 2 weeks.
to be honest, usually, considering, I'm not exactly, I don't look like a gymnast. Considering all of the stuff that I do, I should probably be hurt a lot more, but I
True.
do fall sometimes. I think the most ultimate me falling down story was in White Plains, New York. I climbed up on a bar, and a very nice wait staff person had just put an entire set of really nice glassware right next to me.
And a magnum of wine.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
dear.
and I slipped and broke all of it. Like, you heard like,
We actually have the audio of that. We had recorded that show, so you hear him go, oh, whoa, whoa! You hear the crash. Yeah. Oh yeah, the rug burn.
it's more like this. It's more like,
The rug burn, I think, was at the Colorado Cafe. He did a head spin on carpet, and then had a little dome. Rug burn.
well, when I was a kid, I used to try to do head spins. Now,
I'm so glad these are true. Like,
he has that gift.
I was like,
I
are they
like
just
to tell
messing
the
with
story.
an interviewer?
We played a place in Hampton Beach, New York, and it has the gift of finding the place to fall. Abel goes, "Hey man, there's a hole in the stage right there." He goes, "Okay." He starts the first song, "Poison" by Bubba DeVoe. Duck, 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 bump. He goes right in the hole immediately, like he was aiming for it. And then actually, was it in Ohio? No, it was a couple days before Ohio. He fell off the stage in Westminster, Maryland. We had like an 8-foot stage. Fell
There you go.
off
Come
the
down an
stage.
Amish Outlaws show. Hez might fall off the stage.
He's very light on his feet, though.
honestly, considering we do, I don't know, 170, 180 shows a
Right.
year, the fact that I fall every once in a while, it's barely even fall.
On average, is low.
Well, then last
but
week,
not zero.
Last week in Connecticut, they had monitors in front of the stage, or speakers that were triangular. So there was a triangle of open space, a triangle of open space, a triangle. All night, him and Abel were back and forth on them. And I kid you not, I thought to myself, I can't believe nobody's fallen into that. Oh, there we go. He fell right into it.
And then I guess Abel, one thing about Abel that may not come across on that photo is he's tall.
Yeah, he's 6'7".
Tall dude, tall drink of water. And it looks like he hit his head and almost passed out.
That was at Secrets in Ocean City. Yeah, he cracked his head on the hanging, like a speaker like this, right on the metal corner. Yeah, and almost went on.
Which they probably didn't plan for 6'8".
No,
singers.
but you know, it's funny. I think it was Vince Neil. Was it Vince Neil or was it the guy from Poison?
I think it was Vince
Neil performed there the week before, did a solo show. I think it was for Bike Week, and also somehow hit his head on that speaker. Maybe jumped really high.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not
I can't imagine him jumping very high.
Apparently the week was up. That was after able to hit it. We're like, oh, Vince Neil hit his head in that last week.
And actually,
I was like, was he on the ladder?
BD actually fell. We were at Dewey Beach, Delaware. He tripped and fell off the stage, and dude, he's 300.
Yeah,
right. Hey, he's massive.
Just watching it, it's like
there are these two
he's going down.
Yeah, it was tiny women standing there. I was like, oh man, we're screwed. They're screwed. And somehow, like, he
got very
agile.
Yeah.
He managed to not crush them.
Yeah, but him falling is when like a giant falls in the movie and it looks like it's in slow motion.
Right.
But it's not. He's coming down.
Yeah, like the troll in Harry Potter. Like,
yeah.
But he fell on the ground. I was like, I thought he was knocked out for a second. All that weight. His head just hit the floor. But no, it ended up well.
This is
saved
amazing.
us a couple lawsuits.
Yeah, we haven't lost one yet. Well, actually, there was another guy that sang for us for about a year. We were playing the Bent Elbow. Remember that place, Bent Elbow in Fort Washington? It had the center of the room was a circular bar. So we would play almost like in an alcove at the end, but the two of them were on the bar all night, and he jumped across the bar, and it was a wet spot, and landed on the wet spot, and kicked the woman full in the face. It was terrible. And she was fine, and she was at a show a month later. Was like, yeah,
that's a joke. She was fine.
No, but she was fine. But it was like luckily again I don't think we've been sued yet. But it's still we got one more night to go.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so that's the beauty here is you played last night over on Festplatz, which is kind of like the party stage. Today was going to be the bigger stage, but we've moved it inside because of the weather. Mm-hmm. But definitely check it out either tonight or any other time that you get a chance to see the Amish Outlaws. One highly respectable thing that you all do is it's not the same set all the time. So you're constantly adding new music, challenging it, and so on. Because obviously, if something has a good formula, you may not want to change it.
We try on
but you do, like, you make sure it's going to be something in there that's fresh, and obviously the bangers are always going to be there, but you're bringing in some new, and obviously there's always more new good music to bring in. So anything new or special or surprising for tonight? Or?
Well, last night was one set, and tonight is a completely different one.
That is so so great.
We're lucky to have enough material. Like we just did 2 nights in New Hampshire back to back in the same place. I think we repeated one song. Mm-hmm. Not even out of necessity. We just did it because it was a Bob Marley song, and people were unsurprisingly smoking marijuana. So the second we smell that, they call out the Bob Marley song. But tonight, we have an entirely new set of songs.
Yeah.
I try not to repeat a single one. Every once in a while, it will happen if you request something or something.
Of course.
But we have 2 entirely different shows.
Yeah, I mean,
let me just tell you about the show. I just realized this is a great story.
Yeah.
Okay, so seriously, we're a Jewel Vial. We're funny. We like to have fun.
Of course.
Okay, but I'm telling you right now, none of us really do much. I mean, there's a little bit of drinking that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And zero any other substances.
Sure.
Caffeine, a lot of caffeine.
So anyway, we played every year in Southern Maryland. We play this thing called the 420 Festival.
Right.
And it's at this, and I swear to you, it would be
in case people know, 420 Festival is very supportive of cannabis and marijuana.
Yeah. Well, it's a grand opening of a place down there called the Tiki Bar Solomons. It always falls towards the end of April. This day it was on 420.
Right. And it was I tell you, it was as if the Doobie Brothers and Cypress Hill and Cheech and Chong, and let's see who else.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we're outside. I don't even know how this is possible. I don't. I don't know how you could get high from outside.
We were all so high. None of us
From just contact.
touched I called my wife from the car on the way. We're all in the car giggling. I'm like, we're all so high. When do I get scared? When do I get scared?
I can tell you right now, I know I'm not supposed to smoke pot or anything like that because I went straight to just having the worst headache ever.
But also
I mean, there was no fun.
No joy.
The last thing we need is to be hungrier, too.
Yeah, that too.
We had Chinese before this. It's good.
That's good. That's good.
Where are we going to eat after?
Good call there.
Italian?
Italian, all right.
What's good in town?
Nana Salinas. Remember that place we ate at? That's a great breakfast. Anyway, sorry, we digress.
No, that's totally
So
fine.
you start talking about marijuana, we start talking about food right away.
Yeah, so that does go together. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on the
course, thanks for
show.
having us.
This was an amazing just journey through the backstory and amazing falling off stage stories. But everyone really should check out the music. It's such a fun party, and you can also go to the site and request a booking. Like, this is the type of thing that would be amazing for, all sorts of different options. So definitely check out Amish Outlaws. Let's just bring that up here one more time. The site, AmishOutlaws.com. And there's all sorts of other good things in here. Here's how you can get a booking. There's some photo images. Here's where you are on tour. So after Musikfest, there's other shows in Maryland and Delaware and all sorts of other great stuff going on. And then we always like to make sure we sling the merch because that's a great way to support bands. So T-shirts and all,
We have baseball hats now, and we have that
has to be updated.
a new tank top.
We have a bunch of new designs.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So Hezekiah, Ezekiel, Jacob, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on the show. Have a great set tonight. Sadly, weather didn't allow basically half the population of southeastern Pennsylvania to come join this, but it's still going to be a great night, and people should try and get over there for it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And now we will close it out.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.